So this time around we're going to be doing something quite different for my channel. This is a 86 Monte Carlo Super Sport. Owned this car over 20 years. It was a daily driver for a while. I rebuilt the engine. It's got less than 20,000 on it. When I rebuilt it, this was back in the 90s. It's a 305, of course, the stock 305. When I rebuilt it in the 90s, I put the first generation of Holley projection on here. Any of you guys that are familiar with that system, some of y'all are probably cringing. It wasn't a bad system. It just wasn't a great system. And I had a lot of issues with it through the years, off and on. Some of them were my fault. You know, you had to run a return line. And back then, only really options you had was to use a stock line and try to plumb another line back into that fuel pickup, which actually I can show you the original tank. You guys that are familiar with these cars, the cars had a mechanical fuel pump from the factory. So you had your old school, old style pickup. So it had the pickup in there, had a vent line. Pickup and a vent line, I think. It's only two the originals had. At some point, I bought this cylinder, which is a fuel injection cylinder, which gave you a return line. And that actually helped because the original fuel pump I used, or pickups I used, the stock one, I tried to use the stock vent as a return. It was only 1/4 inch in diameter, and it was too small. And I always had a problem with this thing running rich. And I finally figured out years later that my return line was just too small. When I put this fuel pickup on there, and got the bigger return line, so that's a 3/8 supply and a 5/16 return. I was able to it ran a lot better. It didn't run great, but it ran a lot better. So that's, you know, I went through like 2 or maybe 3 different fuel pickups. All of them with the mechanical pump. Well, I'll take that back. All of them for a mechanical pump. Then I got this one for a fuel injection pump. Now, back in the day, the projection system, it put a fuel tank. The fuel pump was the external fuel pump. You know, it mounted down inside the frame rail. I went through 2 of those things. The first one I had, that's the one I pulled out, the little circular pump. The first one I had burned up. Holley was really good. Holley sent me a new fuel pump. I kept having troubles with ECUs. They even sent me another ECU. The throttle body I had, and still have, is the projection throttle body, which is based off the GM TBI. I live south of Atlanta, Georgia. The Mega Squirt people are actually north of Atlanta, or in North Atlanta. Somehow I came across Mega Squirt online. It's back in the maybe early 2000s. Came across the Mega Squirt people. So I ended up buying a Mega Squirt kit and putting it on here. And I'm not going to go into all the spiel about Mega Squirts. You guys know about Mega Squirts, you know. It's basically a do-it-yourself fuel injection system. And then for people like me, I used to be an electronics tech. I soldered my stuff together myself. You can buy them pre-made, pre-soldered, you know, assembled. I put mine together myself, bought it in the kit for them. So I put the Mega Squirt on here. That's why I was talking about the data logging and stuff. It's got a software called Tuner Studio you use to basically it's your tuning software. And it, you know, so I ran it for a while with that Mega Squirt, and it ran okay. Some of it was my fault for just not knowing what I was doing with fuel injections. Some of it, like I said, was the distributor. I had another distributor that probably wasn't much good. And I don't remember what else. So I finally just got mad and parked the car. And then a few years later, I said, well, I'm just going to put a carburetor on it. Put a new distributor in it, put a carburetor on it, get it running, get out and drive it. And then one day I'll put the fuel injection back on it. And that was like 10 years ago. So that's a new Mallory. I think it's a Mallory. I don't even remember. Is it a Mallory? I can't see from here. I think it doesn't really matter. Anyway, it's a new distributor. Vacuum Advanced HEI distributor. But the big breakthrough, like I was saying earlier, was now you can buy these fuel injection tanks already set up for fuel injection. I've got, well, my 4 tanks in yonder. You can't see it. It's the GPA style, you know, big fuel pump with the Walboro pump on it. It's a you know, common Walboro's a pump, or you know, that's one of the best pumps out there. In the tank, plumbed for the -6 3/8 return, a 3/8 inlet, plumbed for -6. You can put, you know, pipe fittings, all that good stuff on it. So it's a very straightforward, very good way to put together a fuel system, and that was a turning point for this car. So that's what I've been doing the last few days. I've been putting the fuel lines on, new fuel lines, and the tank. So my plans for this car, like I said, are to get it where I can drive it, and then at some point I'll put the fuel injection back on it. Now I've done all the work already. I was going to film making the lines and stuff, but I just didn't do it. I don't think anybody would want to watch it. There's plenty of videos out there, people making fuel lines. And so, quick overview. I'm using a Tanks Inc. tank. It's a direct fit replacement. Well, yeah, it's a direct fit tank for that Monte Carlo for the G body, but it's made for fuel injection. So it's got the hole here for the fuel pump and the aftermarket style fuel sender. This is the GPA style, I believe, pump. You can get these from Tanks Inc. and a lot of other places sell this style pump. And this is a newer style floatless fuel sender. Again, I got that from Tanks Inc. The tank, the fuel sender, and the pump all come from Tanks Inc. This pump is made for fuel injection, so it's only a 10 psi pump, I believe, maybe 15. It's not your 60 psi pump that you use in regular, you know, high pressure fuel injection systems, like, you know, multi-port and all that stuff. Throttle bodies even use like 7 to 8 psi. The old throttle body styles use like 7 to 10 psi fuel pressure. So this is the fuel pump you'd use on throttle body injection, which is what I eventually will have. Right now, I just got a carburetor. Well, this car has a long history of fuel injection, not fuel injection. But anyway, this is the tank. I've already added, I lengthened my wires for my fuel sender, obviously. Lengthened my wires for my fuel pump. And then these are the braided hoses I made to hook up my fuel lines with. Return, or this is a supply and return. Still have to hook the vent up. They're not hooked up now. I'm just doing this temporary. I'll figure out some permanent vent situation later. Right now, I'm just getting the tank under the car to kind of get it hooked up and spin the pump and make sure everything works, and maybe crank the engine over. I'll crawl up under the car and show you how I did the fuel lines and stuff. So just hang on, and I'll do that. So as far as fuel lines, my original plan was to use braided stainless from the pump, run up under here, and I'll show you in a minute what I did. To right down here, there's joints right up under here in the braided stainless. I was gonna make steel line, you know, on the rest of the way down the frame rail. The stock steel line came down the frame rail, snaked in the frame rail, it went through the frame rail, and came out. Really, I didn't bring my. And came out in the same place my braided lines are coming out. See, there's a hole in the frame. I don't know if you can see it. But see those two lines? There's a hole. That's where the steel line came out originally. The first fuel system I put in this car, after I changed the first time around, I put steel line down the rail. It was a pain in the butt. Finally got to work, poked them out, the holes right there, and then just use that push lock type hose to hook everything up. So this time around, I was going to make new lines. I wanted to use that NICOP line, which is a lot easier to bend than, say, regular steel, and it's not supposed to rust. I admit, anybody that's watched some of the videos I've done about making lines, I hate making lines. I'm good with tedious stuff, but making lines is just, that's one of the things that I just don't like doing. It drives me insane. I get mad every time I have to wind up doing it. Oh, so I tried to make the steel line to go, like I said, from about here down to the frame, and I wound up. That's when I said, I got to this point, I said, nope, I ain't doing it. If the body was off the car, where you could get to everything, you could do it. You know, you could buy the replacement, the brand new fuel lines. But on this G-body, you can't put the fuel lines on the G-body without taking the body off, because it wraps around. It wraps above the wheel wells in here and back and down under. Now the front side's not so bad. I could have bought, and I actually thought about buying 2 stock replacement steel lines, run them down the frame, you know, cutting them right back here, joining them into my braided stainless, and then run them down the frame. But I got disgusted with it. I said, nah, screw it, I ain't gonna do it. I'm just gonna run braided stainless. So I've got braided stainless running the whole way. It's overkill, it's expensive, it's not really necessary, but it's what I did and it's what I got. And it wound up being a whole lot easier than it had any right to be. Even feeding the hose in, it feeds in a hole back there. I'll show you in a minute. It comes out right here. That was way easier than it had any right to be, honestly. Now, as far as my setup goes, this is a Holley, right here, that's a Holley fuel regulator, bypass regulator. So you got a supply line that comes in, a return line that goes out, and the supply return and the fuel line to the carburetor. And it's adjustable, and that was made for like 10, 15 psi max. They sell them, Holley sells them in different pressure ranges. Like if you had a modern, you know, multi-port and fuel injection system, for example, those run like 40, 50, 60 psi. My Edelbrock multi-port, or whatever that's called, injection on my Ford, it's like 40 psi. So there's all different pressure ranges for different kinds of fuel injection. Carburetors and TBIs run 5, 6, 7 pounds of pressure, and that's it. So anyway, that's my regulator right there, plumbed in, braided stainless, and then at the moment I've got rubber hose and my fuel gauge. I'm going to reroute this. That's just to get me by, get me going. I'm going to put a fuel filter in there, and I could put braided stainless up here, but there's no reason to. That rubber hose is, I mean, that's fuel line. It's just fine. So I'm probably going to just go with the rubber hose. That's brand new Gates hose. That's good hose. So let me get up under here and show you what we got. All right, get down here where I can show you. Creepers make me mad, just about as mad as wires and cables do. Ah! Damn it. So here's a corner of the Tanks Inc. tank. It's a direct fit, like I said, made for fuel injection. Anybody who wants to do this, go to Tanks Inc. I actually bought mine from Summit, but it's a Tanks Inc. tank. It's in their catalog, made for fuel injection for a G-body. There's the 2 braided lines coming off the pump. One's a return, one's a supply and return. I bought a aftermarket fuel sender because your stock, you know, you have to put an aftermarket fuel sender in it. So that's in there. I had to link, you know, that's the wires for it. I haven't hooked up yet, but I tested it. It works. Up under here, these are the fuel pump wires. Just temporary. I've got to run these permanently over under here. So here's the 2 braided lines. What I'll wind up doing, I did the first time around, and I'll repeat the same thing again. this is an original brace for the original fuel lines. I'm gonna time right there, and then they snake in up under this shock tower bracket frame, come down from the frame, and I got to get some light. They come down over that bracket. Crap, light. You can't see. I can't see. Down over that bracket right here, under here. This is one of the original lines that I cut most of it out. I'm going to zip tie right here. That's a good clamping spot to clamp it to. Then they go on top of the frame mount here for the rear radius arm or whatever these things are called. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And then let me get on the other side up here. Damn creeper. So they come down. This is that bracket you just saw. Comes down, and I got a joint. I got a joint right here in both lines. This is where I had originally planned to hook up the steel line. If I'd have known I was going to wind up running a braided stainless the whole way, I would have made the joint and the lines back there. It would make dropping the tank a lot easier. Because dropping the tank the way it is now, there's no joint. So when it drops down, the lines get all bound up. And if I was smart, I guess I'd go back in there and cut them and add another joint, but I'm not going to do it. I hope I never have to take that tank out again, honestly. So, they snake down through the frame rail. I got these Adele clamps, I think they call them. So there'll be these clamps wrapped around here, and I drill new holes. So they'll be there. They'll be clamped there. And then I was going to clamp down here, but I don't think I need to. This is the original. Dang it. This is the original fuel line mount. So again, two Adele clamps. I drilled a new hole, clipped it in right there. Damn fuel line or wire. So the fuel lines. Oh, that exhaust is hot. Or warm anyway. So the lines come on down. They come up right here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm just guessing. Come up right here. I put another pair of clamps right there, and that's the hole in the frame where the stock original lines went in. So I think you'll be able to see the hole right here, all the way down and back and up here, and then crap. This is not easy to do. They go in the frame right there, and they pass through. And I got a block in the way, concrete block. I can't show. Hold on. Ooh, I was just flinging some bad words. Y'all didn't get to hear that. Anyhow, so it's inside the frame. Now, inside the shock, there's not really a shock tower, but you can see the little shiny bits right there. That's the. Let me grab the other flashlight. That's one of the. Man, my allergies. That's one of the. Damn it. There's the braided lines right there. As I said, the factory lines, they came in there. They were probably bent to go into this, go into this side of the frame to keep them off the coil spring. I've got a finger width at least. I can't get my hand up in there, and you can't really see it because there's not can't really get the camera in there. It looks tight, but it's not. There's a finger at least between the line and the spring. So before I fasten these down, I'm gonna try to well, actually I already have fastened them down, that's right. They're pretty stiff. They're not gonna move a whole lot. You can't get your hands back up in here, damn it. So I mean I had them ran before the factory did it. They were steel, of course, but I'm gonna go with it. The only thing I could do is pull the suspension apart and pull the shock down and the spring and clamp it to that rail, and I ain't doing that. I ain't gonna do it. It ain't necessary. It'll be alright. So like I said, they come out of that hole right there. So come out of that hole right there and go up. So that's my fuel line routing. Run it with the braided line. That saved my ass. The steel line wasn't gonna cut it. It just wasn't gonna work. So anyhow, that's the bottom side. I think that's it for the moment. So when I got some more to show, I'll be back. As far as the tank goes, I forgot to mention the vent. The tank's got a vent provision to vent the tank, and then the fuel pump also has a vent. So I've got the instructions here somewhere. I'm not even sure where they are. Well, basically they tell you to tie the vents together. They give you a little Y connector right here in the kit. They give you a rollover valve, which is your vent. So they tell you to tie the two vents together, which is what these two tubes are from the two vents. And I'm going to put the rollover valve back in here somewhere whenever I figure out how. So that's the vent tubes. You gotta account for those too. You can't just leave them. You can't just leave them under there. Anyway. You see it? Probably can't see it. There it is, right there. And it's stuck. So I gotta break both of those loose. How about that? Real quick once over here. I don't want to let it run too long. Got one of the exhaust pipes I gotta put that I took off, I gotta put back on. Started out, it seemed like it would smell like it was running pretty rich, but I think it's blowed I think rat's nest blew out of the exhaust pipe. Can't really tell much about it. This car doesn't sound, it's a very mild exhaust. I could put something a lot louder on it now if I wanted to. A lot more aggressive sounding. Anyway, it runs. How about that? So I've still got to since I last worked, let me cut this thing off. So there we go. It runs still. I mean, it ran before and it ran good, so no reason it shouldn't run. All right, so next steps on this one. I want to rebuild the carburetor, or at least swap out that gas. That gasket's not even leaking. I might not even pull it back apart. We'll see. There's no fuel leaking here that I can see now. It may be leaking air. It's idling too fast, as you can tell. The idle speed's too high. The carburetor's got to be adjusted, the idle speed and the mixture and all that mess. I got to check the timing. I put a new distributor on this thing a few years ago, and I think I set the timing, but I don't remember. I'm sure I did, but I want to check the timing. I see that I don't have the vacuum advance hooked up. It's a vacuum advance HEI distributor, so I've got to hook the vacuum advance up before I can drive it. I want to put the watching massage manifold. I want to put the Mega Squirt back in it because I fully intend at some point to put the fuel injection back on there. The Mega Squirt. I put the carburetor on it. I think I mentioned before. I put the carburetor on it and that new distributor. After I kept having, I had a lot of trouble early on with this fuel injection. I had that Holley projection and I kept having trouble with it. And I changed to a Mega Squirt and I just finally got disgusted. That's why the car sat for all those years. I got disgusted with it and parked it. So now that the tank's inked, you can buy tanks now that are direct replacements for fuel injection. So that's what I've got in here. Tank's inked tank. Fuel injection, or a throttle body / carburetor pump. It only pumps about, I think, 10 psi, maybe 15, I don't remember. Max. I'm only getting 3 psi at the moment, so I've got to adjust my regulator. I'm only getting 3 psi at the moment. I want to set it to about 5. That's where I read somewhere about 5 is about right. Anyway, next steps are I want to get the Mega Squirt back in there. I want to get all the data logging hooked up back up. So I want to start. I can use the Mega Squirt even though it's not fuel injected. I can use the Mega Squirt to check like the the only real thing I can check with it. I got to hook up the EGR, not EGR. Is it EGR? No. O2 sensor. It's got an O2 sensor in it that reads the mixture, which makes which makes setting the idle or the mixture a little easier. I bought a wideband O2 sensor that, for those of y'all that know, that's the one that can put it in automatic mode, more or less. It's not a good description, but Well, I'm going to put the Mega Squirt back in there. The biggest thing, it controls the fuel pump. Right now I got the fuel pump just hot wired, so it'll control the fuel pump when the engine's not running. It'll shut it off. It primes it and then shuts off. You got to have fuel injection. You know how that works. Anyway, I get the data logging working. It's got a tach and the O2 and all that good stuff. You get it ready to put the throttle body back on it at some point one day, but not yet. I just want to get it where I can get it out and drive it. I want to get it driving good with the carburetor, get it driving good with this new distributor. And then once I do that, then I'll put the throttle body on there. And if I have gremlins, I'll know it's a throttle body and not something else. That's the problem I had. I kept chasing multiple gremlins. The engine's rebuilt. The engine's fine. This engine's got less than 20,000 miles on it. There ain't a thing wrong with that engine, other than it's a 305, But I just got to get the fuel system sorted out. Having a fuel pump or having a real fuel injection tank and a pump and the lines done, that's a major victory for me, because I struggled with that for a long time, off and on for many years, that fuel system. So anyway, that's it for now. I guess I'll call this a video. So when we come back, I'll be doing some more stuff. I'm not sure exactly what. I gotta hook up exhaust pipe. I had to take off. I gotta clamp down my fuel lines. So I got some maintenance type stuff to do. before I can put it on the ground and get it out on the road and try to drive it. Put the Mega Squirt in it. Like I said, put the Mega Squirt back in it. Hook that up. Which all it is hooking it back, screwing it back down, hooking some wires up. It shouldn't be any big deal to do it. Just got to do it. So anyway, that's it for now. So hope you enjoyed seeing something a little different. This is definitely different for my channel. These Monte Carlos, these G bodies are popular cars. Maybe some folks will watch this. So anyway, thanks for looking in. Thanks for being here. I'm talking to the half of my head. Thanks for looking in. Thanks for being here. Hope you're enjoying what you're seeing and all that good stuff. Be sure to like, subscribe, smash the bell, all that good shit, share. Did I just say good stuff? Whatever. All that stuff, and I will catch you on the flip side. Y'all come back now, you hear? Woo!